Yo, most people agree that humans are the single most important life form we know. Yet, while some believe that all other animals collectively are as important as Homo sapiens, if not more, many others see animals as collectively important but clearly less important than humans. And some might suppose that our world would be better without animals, a much neater, simpler, and cleaner environment. It's commonly understood that most animals are less wanted and needed today. However, were animals needed for ancient civilizations? Here are the facts. Without animals, primitive people in freezing climates would be without fur, skins, leather, wool, down, and such like to use for clothing, shoes, belts, or bags. Animal blubber, which is consumed by Eskimos, would be unavailable to eat and keep warm with either. And it was hard enough to make and maintain a sufficient fire to cook food. It would be even harder since warm blooded animals would be unavailable, only cold plants and sticks caked with ice. It could be doable with animal fat, but that would be out too. Although primitive tribes in frigid climates could not thereby survive, could those in warm climates survive without animals? First, many people in the time before vitamin pills were invented would die from a vegan diet, and no civilization in history subsisted on a vegan diet. Vegetarian maybe, vegan no. According to most experts, the paleo diet was best for humanity. Vegetation would be jeopardized too, since most flowering plants cannot reproduce without insects pollinating them. Other plants would not exist since they depend on birds to plant them, who eat their seeds and excrete them far away, which thereafter sprout. Farmers would need to do without ants and earthworms, who, in the process of turning up soil and digging tunnels, aerate the soil and recycle nutrients. Farmers would also lack animal feces, an important fertilizer. They would also be burdened with sorting the healthy products from massive amounts of plant waste, such as dried leaves and tree branches, since they wouldn't have termites and other insects to consume decomposing plant matter. Then they'd have to do all their work by hand instead of incorporating horses, oxen, and other animals who traditionally did most of the work. Actually, without animals, these combined difficulties would not only render primitive life impossible, but also render Middle Ages, Renaissance, Enlightenment, Elizabethan, and Victorian era life as they knew them impossible too. Besides some of the problems previously mentioned, they would have no animals for transportation, no fossil fuels, meaning no coal, kerosene, or whale oil used for lamps. They would have no soap or candles, as they were made from animal fat or beeswax. There would be no silk, wool, or down to make clothing, winter coats, or blankets, and no feathers for pillows. Brushes of all types, mats, rugs, and strings for musical instruments were made of animal hair. Frogs acted as bioindicators for both land and water. Since frogs quickly react to biological hazards, they were useful for warning humans to take action. No to that too. How about modern times? Besides some of the aforementioned problems, they would lack fossil fuels for propane, natural gas, and gasoline. Transportation would be shut down since there would be no horses either. No guide dogs and other animals to help the handicapped, nor dogs to detect drugs, cadavers, missing persons, or bombs. There'd certainly be no meat, eggs, milk, ice cream, cheese, yogurt, chocolate, and numerous other foods. Vegans would be impacted too, since fruit depends on shellac, a resin secreted by lac bugs. This coating helps prevent fruit from rotting in markets and grocery stores. Vegans are more dependent on vitamin pills, yet edible shellac is an important glazing agent on pills to protect their shelf life and for time to release. And vitamin B12 comes from microorganisms, that is, miniature animals, regardless. Until the 1950s, phonograph records were made of shellac. Shellac was also needed to protect wooden furniture, paintings, and other products from water damage. This animal byproduct has numerous uses to this day. Yet would modern life be merely inconvenient, yet livable? No. Most of the particles that cause clouds to produce rain are bacteria. We cannot fully digest food without bacteria, and also need them to supply us with needed vitamins and protect us from infections. In fact, the number of microscopic animal cells in and on our body is an estimated 10 times the number of human cells. I have the philosophy of deep ecology, that is, all living things have the right to exist, and humans have no right to bring other creatures to extinction by deciding which species serve us and should therefore be allowed to live. Although I'm Christian, I reject the viewpoint typically associated with the Abrahamic religions, that is, the anthropocentric view that all that is worthwhile revolves around humankind and other creatures are only valuable if they serve us. Deep ecology is commonly associated with Eastern religions and viewing all living things as sacred. My reason 1. Although most religious texts devalue animals and exalt humans, they were 100% written by humans. If animals had a part in writing them, religious texts would undoubtedly have a much different tone. Reason 2. God created us as fully dependent on animals to live. Reason 3. God chose to create tens of thousands of times the number of animal species than human species. Reason 4. Generally speaking, the rarer something is, the more valuable it is, and the more common, the less valuable it is. For example, lead is far less valuable than gold, though it's more useful since it's 1,000 times more common. And many animal species number in the hundreds, while humans number in the billions. Reason 5. Humans harm our planet more than all other animals combined. So I must conclude that animals are just as important as humans, if not more important. So do everything you can to help animals live and thrive.